Alrighty, well, welcome to call 5 of our 5 free day 5 series. And again, like I was saying at the beginning, I have more stuff in my mouth now from surgery and this thing and these brackets and these screws. So I apologize for the slurring. And I'm sure someday I'll look back on this and go, wow. So we're going to wrap up our 5th day today. It's awesome for those of you who have been able to join live. I know we're all busy, but you've been getting the recordings, and then I'll put all the recordings together, and then you'll also have them as well. So with that, I think what I wanted to do, as we went through a bunch of different things this week of asking this, I'm going to have you guys look at asking more questions about your business. And these are the things we're going to look at and we're going to do in the Expansion Accelerator 12-week group. That your invitation for you guys to come and play, and not even play, but you're going to work in this group. We're going to expand. But if not, these questions are going to be great to apply anywhere and anything, but they're going to be some of the things that we're going to talk about. And again, it's whether, it doesn't matter if your business is existing and there's places you keep getting stuck, same thing. God, we talked about that this morning on the Phenomenal Woman membership about how we have a tendency to create from our past experiences. And until we clear that, we're creating in this moment from who we were. And if it doesn't match that, then we can't expand beyond that, or we do, but it's a little bit. So with that, or if your business is just a thought in your head, but if your thought is in your head, if the business is a thought in your head, it's already there. The business is a possibility. You just have to go to work to create it whenever you're ready to create it, by the choices that you're creating and by the things that you're choosing. So if it's a thought, it's there. Okay. And if your business is wherever it is, if it's in motion and so forth, what else is double, triple your income? Seriously, in the next 3 months in that 12-week program. So here is a couple questions. I'm just going to go down them and I want you to think about them in regards to business. And then if you have any questions, chime in. One of the things with business, whether it's a little bit of a business or it's growing, comes back to money. We talked about receiving yesterday, and are you willing to receive money? One of the things that we will go through in the Accelerator, Expand Accelerated course, and this course has a lot of one-on-one coaching. It's all live with me. I don't do courses that you watch on your own. You do them with me, and a lot of private one-on-ones. There's 19 hours of private one-on-ones with me, and that's where we dive into wherever you're at. So where is your business? Are the systems set up? And that's even from the place I'm working with somebody right now who's just diving into starting her coaching business. And the one main thing, people have to know how to find you and they have to know how to pay you. And if you get those two things somewhat done, when you start getting in motion, that makes the ease of the people being able to pay you. So wherever you're at with your business right now, is it ready to find the people? And what is it required to find the people and keep the people? And how can they pay you? And then with that, as you are growing and expanding, are you clear on what it's going to take to handle that expansion? And these are all things I have done in every business, especially with coaching. And some of the way with this new business, that I would coach somebody else a little bit different than the way I did it from the beginning for more ease, but otherwise the basics. We're going to talk about the 3 C's: clarity, connection, and the close for expansion. Those are 3 great tools to learn. They're not even actually tools, they're systems for that. Selling is a big thing in your business, it's like the big thing. If you're self-employed, guess what? You're selling yourself every day. Sales is selling every day. Are you selling or are you inviting people into your space? And what is the difference? And selling is required. And what does that look like? And all the points of view you have about what selling is and selling isn't. Would you destroy and uncreate that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine short boys, POBEDs, and beyond. And I just shared this with some of you, I don't know. As a senior sales director with Mary Kay, I would always ask this question to a room full of women that I was coaching or talking to, directing at that time. And I would ask them, who here hates selling? And everybody would raise their hand. And they always did. And I'm like, okay, that's fantastic. But guess what? You sell a product. So if you hate selling and you're selling a product and you're not having sales, maybe it has something to do with it. And back that time, I wasn't doing the individual clearings and coaching, which is why I left. But I was able to break them down in the thought process. If you have a point of view that's not even your point of view, but it's a point of view, I'd ask them this question of like, why don't you like sales? And then they would come up with some memory of their mom or their dad talking about a salesperson. They hated the salesperson, or they had a point of view about a salesperson. So we have to clear all of that energetically to have ease for you to be in that space where you're like, I just want to share everything that I do with everybody, and whether they choose it or not is up to them, and not being attached to it. So there's an entire element of how much ease are you having with selling, which is the one name of that other program that I have, is How to Sell for Coaches Who Hate Selling, because they all have these coaching programs, but no one knows how to actually sell them. But that comes down to a product, or if you're a bars, whatever your job is, you're in sales. And what is your point of view of what it is that you're doing and being and choosing when you're in sales? We're going to talk about over the 12 weeks, not the one-on-one, but we're going to look at what distractors are you using and choosing that are keeping you, that you're using to keep you from expanding. Okay. If you're familiar with Access, you are familiar. There's 24 distractors. My mouth, it hurts so much. And one of the biggest distractors is business. The main ones that pop up for everybody that they use, and we just call it in when we're talking, it's like, I have fear, I have anger, I have blame, I have shame and regret. There's 24 of them. And a lot of people will just say those, but what they're not aware of until they're aware of is they're actually an energy that we pull up. That's the way I view it. You pull it up and it becomes a shield and your barrier of why it is that you can't choose what you want to choose. So as long as you're saying that I'm afraid, then you don't have to choose anything. Coaching with me one-on-one is going to be like, okay, cool. You're choosing fear. You're choosing it. What is that? And if we were to choose beyond that, what is that? And beyond everything of every distractor that you pull up truly is your power and potency of what's going to take you to expansion. But there's so many points of view of why you are choosing, because you're choosing them until you know that. You think they're happening to you, but yeah, there we go. So we're going to talk about distractors and clearing those. What distractors are you using to destroy what it is that you're choosing? And everything that is, what distractors are you using to destroy what it is that you're creating, what you're choosing to create, and everything that is destroying and create it, like right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, POBEDs, and beyond. So for example, if you're like, I want to start this business, or I want my business to expand, there's this but, this but that comes up, and that's the distractor. That's the distractor. And I find that it's hard to just mindset it away. It's like, oh, well, yeah, it's like, it's an energy. We just need to move it. What else? What else? There's so many things. One of the biggest things that I have found, you guys probably have if you've ever worked with a coach, facilitator, is that accountability. That every week, these are the things that I'm going to choose to do. And then at the end of the week, or when you have that session of like, I did those things. I did those things. And if you didn't do those things, how are you responding to yourself? Are you beating yourself up? Are you judging yourself? Are you using tools to know I didn't do that because it was heavy or light, and learning how to create from a space of awareness? I was talking about this on the Phenomenal Woman community this morning, which I would love to have everybody come and play in. And exactly, if you do participate in the Expansion Accelerator, you are part of that group, because to be touching in to the tools and consciousness every day keeps you up there. But I was talking quickly this morning. I follow this man, Lee Harris, and he always does the energy awareness projections, what he's aware of for the month. So in the month of October, and I just listened to it yesterday after I had surgery, and there was 3 words that he was talking about the energy for this upcoming month, October, and it was heart, throat, and expansion. And I had no idea, except for I did know. So changing the name of the program and the concepts and the things we're teaching, I was right on, because the energy of this upcoming is about, are you willing to choose and be the energy of what expansion is? And how do you do that? And by, and so forth. So it's just exciting when you are in the flow of things and you choose to change something, but you don't question it in a judgment standpoint, but you go, what is this? If I change my mode or my thought or my decision, could it create more? So that was pretty cool to totally have validation on that yesterday. Here's some other things that we are going to cover, or you can learn on your own as well, is, are you a creator, a connector, a mover, or a foundational person? I always have found in Mary Kay, we did the DISC personality styles, and I still do. There's 2,500 personality tests. There's a lot. So I like just simple. But if you do have an idea a little bit about how your framework functions and how you function with others and how others function, creation is a whole different space. And access, in Mary Kay DISC is so, I think everybody should know what they are. I think they should teach that in high school, as far as I'm concerned, because if you knew that if you were outgoing, or if you were inward, or if you were somebody who was very number coordinated, or if you're very dominant, that'll change everything. It's just knowing that frequency. And then the cool thing is after you practice it long enough, because of sales, you're all 4 of them. So you can speak to everybody based on what they are. And then in the element of business, are you a creator? Are you a connector and a mover, or foundational? And foundational is a little bit of everything. And that's kind of what we want to be when we're self-employed, is so that we can talk to everybody. And that's a learned thing. So we're going to talk about that. That's also something you can study on your own, but we will be kind of defining that a little bit. Let's see. Again, do you limit your abilities and gifts when selling or coaching your courses, products, or yourself? That's probably the biggest thing that you're going to find being self-employed always is, what are you charging? What are you not charging? All the points of view that come up with charging, what you should be, what you shouldn't be. And it's a journey. It is a day-by-day journey, and there's no right answer. But it's nice to be able to work with somebody so that you continue to ask the questions about that. When you sell a product, the product is already there for you, the cost. So you're able to charge that. I found that with Mary Kay, but I always discounted everything. I just did. So what is that about me? So still learning. I'm spitting everywhere. We don't mind, right? I'm just drooling everywhere. Imposter syndrome is a word that you hear out there a lot. I didn't even know what it was. But then I started seeing it in the coaching world about a year ago. And I'm like, what is the imposter syndrome? Well, apparently a lot of people have this imposter syndrome. And there's so many ways you can go with this. It's all energy. It's all the ways, it's all your points of view about yourself, all the places you're judging yourself, and everywhere now that you've bought into what, even right now, does anybody know what imposter syndrome is? Have you heard that before? Okay, so why don't you, for right now, everywhere that you have, whatever that word is, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all 9 sorts, boys, poved, and beyond. What I'm aware of is if you choose to have imposter syndrome, guess what? You don't have to choose anything else. And that's cool. But if you're like, okay, I have distractors. I have this energy in front of me. So that's how I, as an energy coach, I'm not going to use imposter syndrome. And what is that? Versus all of these things that you're using and choosing and not creating and out creating those. Alrighty, what else? We're going to talk in the 12-week course, or something you can ask yourself, is the energy behind Zoom eating. Say that 3 times with this in my mouth, Zoom eating. I used to talk about Zoom eating with the women I coached all the time. And Zoom eating looks like this. Zoom, zoom. And it's an actual thing that we have a tendency to do where we get going with our business and then we stop. And then we pull all the way back and then we have no. Now there is a whole bunch of energy stuck in that. And that's my number one, like with anybody I'm coaching, is what can we do beyond Zoom eating? And if you look at everything from energy, Zoom means you hit something. It's a wall. It's a wall of energy. And what is that? And if we can ask the questions and literally destroy and uncreate it, you can keep choosing to go forward. I worked with a coach. I've always worked with a coach, but I had a coach. And at one time, we did everything we could. For me, there was this wall of how far I could create with my business at that time, or some points of view. And we weren't coaching that way. But I was like, okay, I can go over it. I can go under it. I can go around it. I can go to the sides. Like, I was like, I can do it from every direction. And then one day I was like, why don't I just destroy those points of view, those beliefs and limitations, just blast through them, like, and be done. But like, we spent weeks on me, like, figuring out how to go through the wall. And it was like, the wall is just a wall of blockage. So anyway, we can just blast right through that. So no more Zoom eating. And we'll be doing energy polls in that 12 weeks. Super important and ease for your business of what that looks like. And I'm creating a loop, so it's something that you can actually do every day, pulling that energy. And I talked about that on the Phenomenal Woman community, that the one was show me the money, show me the money, show me the money. Can I have the money now, please? How powerful that is. And the one I'm doing right now is show me the women, show me the women, show me the women. Can I have the paying clients now, please? And that's a big thing to ask, because normally I'm like, well, that's so weird, but that's what I'm asking for. So if you are not actually being that energy, and then we wonder why it's not happening, is because we're not choosing it. So that's kind of been the energy that I've been pulling in, and then you filter it back out. And it is amazing. I've had several women from other countries find me, and that's because of just putting the energy out there in the way that we do it, and then being open to receiving it. So the energy that belongs beyond why you aren't charging enough. And are you willing to receive success? Are you willing to receive money? Here's a big one that comes up too, to ask yourself, and regardless of where your business at. I had so many stages with all of my businesses. Oh, look, there's a cat. I don't know what he's doing, but he's back there. Who is that? That's Tiger. That I controlled my business. I'm surprised that my businesses ever did what they did because I controlled them so much. I was a control freak. Now, there's a point to where we do strategize. We know our numbers. We know what to get there. But I had many stages, like this may be for any of you, like, I want this bigness in my business. And then this part comes in, it's like, well, where the hell is it going to go? Like, there's not enough of me. How am I going to do it? How am I going to? And so all the hows were not questions, they were conclusions. And I would start to expand out, and my unit would get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then I have more offsprings, and I'd freak myself out because I'm like, I can't handle all of this. And now I know more that if I would have more expanded me out without taking the business into me and my body, how much more I could have done. But it's still amazing what we can do, but that wasn't ease. So you might be even starting your business right now, or in your business, and like, this is what I desire. And then we go right to this place of how is it going to happen? Once we go there, we're in the try to figure it out, pull it back and start asking questions. Okay. And I do know that it is important to be clear and honest with yourself that whatever it is that you desire in your business, do you actually have enough time? And what does that look like? That was something that women come up against all the time, is they want this very successful business. Cool. I do this thing, and this is a fun little thing to play with. It's like a thermometer. It's whatever, it's this thing. And you have 100 pennies, and you get 100 pennies every day. And then I have you write out, like, where are all your pennies going? So if you have a full-time job, maybe 80 of the pennies are going out. And then you do personal work, maybe 20, and then self-care. And if you have kids, they like 80 goes out to them, and then a significant other, whatever. So you only have 100 pennies, but by the time you add it up, you're like at 150 pennies a day. So you're already running in a deficit. So I call the pennies kind of like an awareness, because energy does expand, but in this linear world, we're still linear. So if there's too many pennies going out, we do need to strategize what can go out for a little while you expand your business. And a lot of women aren't willing to look at that. And then they go into the judgment of what's wrong with them because they can't figure it out, or they can't make it happen, or there's something wrong with them. And there's nothing, there's just literally not enough time of how they're delegating and choosing their time. So that's something else about, just to ask yourself, wherever you are with your business, what does your time management? Are you doing a daily brain dump? And we call it a brain dump, but now it's, for me, it's an energy dump, like every day. Are you clear on what it is that you are doing to create greater in your life? And then doing your money date once a week to see what your money's creating, and all of those elements that are required so that your business gets the energy that's required for it to start to expand. What else have I written down here that we're going to talk about in the 12 weeks? Or you're just asking yourself now, everything you say, everything you think, and everything you do generates what occurs in your life. That's why I'm kind of interested of what this is that I'm creating in my mouth right now, that there's this like drama around it. Whatever you choose puts the energy of the universe, of the energy of consciousness, into action, and that is what's showing up in your life. This is what your life looks like in the moment. So there we go. So wherever your life is and where you're at right now is based on the choices that you've been choosing. And so if you don't like something, let's choose something different. All righty. So with that, anybody have any questions on anything? Anything we talked about, any back things, or any questions about where you're at with your business right now? Is there anything I can contribute? Go, Lupita.
When you talked about the imposter syndrome, like, it's funny because I know I've heard about it, or I've heard it, but I don't know what it is. And it's like, do I even need to really know what it is?
Truth.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, let me answer that. So truth, is it truth? Do you need to know what imposter syndrome is? Yes or no? No.
No.
Cool. So here's the thing. In mindset work, and people that are working very linear, and there's nothing wrong with that, they are hitting these limitations. So they've labeled it. And once you've labeled it, then you become it. Lupita, I've never heard the word imposter syndrome. I'll have you mute out, it's real loud. Must be your planes. I've never heard in the energy world, imposter syndrome ever used, because imposter syndrome is energetic distractors. That's all. So we have tools to go, oh, I have fear. I have shame. I feel like I don't know what it is that I'm doing. People think that I'm lying. I'm promoting those. It's just all energy, destroying and create it. But a lot of people are playing in that realm as a reason not to choose something else until they know to choose something else. So, Lupita, you don't need to know about it. Just pock and pot it. It's a good question. Very good question. Anything else, anybody? Nothing, Lupita? Lupita always has good
Yeah,
questions.
there was something else. I don't. What was it?
Okay.
I'm gonna remember right now.
If it comes back. Okay. All righty. So as we wrap up this 5 days, I've enjoyed it so much. I love talking. I love teaching. I love sharing, everything that I know with others. I mean, that's what I'm here for. So it's exciting to be able to do that. And I would love to work with you further, whether it be in the Expansion Accelerator, see you more in the Phenomenal Woman, or there's other ways. I'm here, and I would love to take you to the next place. Otherwise, continue. I will close out with this and come back to Lupita if she has a question. I taught this book about 2 years ago. It's really good. So John Maxwell, super simple, super easy, but it's the power of 5 for network marketing. And sorry, but I'm going to say this. Every time I read these books, I could have written these books, but that's okay. Because there's really, every time I read them, I'm like, okay, that's good, but I've already done that. But here's one thing, that anybody who's gone somewhere big with their business, they've never done it alone. Okay. So let me read how John Maxwell, one of the most leading inspirational authors, speakers on all stuff. I mean, I read his stuff for years in Mary Kay about leadership and so forth. But here's something. I can still remember a pivotal conversation around breakfast as if it were yesterday. This breakfast happened early in his career, but its impact remains to this day. He said, I was listening to my mentor and sharing with him my dreams to succeed. He patiently listened, nodding his head occasionally with a look on his face. After I finished talking, he leaned into me and asked the question that changed my life. John, what is your plan for personal growth? I pondered this question as I sat in silence, and I answered him, I don't have a plan for personal growth. I didn't know I even needed a plan for personal growth. I didn't even know what a plan for growth was. My mentor broke the silence with these words. Personal growth is not automatic. It doesn't just happen. To grow, you must be intentional. All these years later, and all those words still ring in my ears because they have proven true time and time again. John Maxwell, and for me, my success is a result of my personal growth. As I have grown on the inside, my growth has grown on the outside. In fact, my goal is always to get bigger on the inside than I am on the outside. If that happens, my outside world has a greater potential. This is not only for me, but also true for you. Grow yourself, grow your business. If you get bigger on the outside than on the inside, then your business will get smaller. If you are bigger on the inside than on the outside, your business will grow larger. Isn't that beautiful? I just love that. And there's so much in there, but that's from the words of a wise mentor, coach, one of the very first, that our personal growth, whatever that looks like for each and every one of us on the individual, the journey of where we're at, is the inside job then represents our growth and our business. And yay for that. So continue to do whatever it is, personal growth, consciousness, and all of that to continue to expand, not just for you, truly, but to expand for the planet. So that was my ending. John Maxwell, love that book. Lupita, did you remember anything?
I think it's going along with that personal growth. You talked something about a brain dump or energy dump. So that can be like, but I mean, what it is, what it is, like,
what is
brain
it?
dump.
Yeah. In the business world, we've called it brain dump for 20 years. I just heard somebody talking about it like it was the first thing they'd ever heard. I've been around a long time and I've done a lot of things. So when I hear people talk about something for the first time, I'm like, what did I read the other day? Jealousy is just a reminder that you have work to do. Like I had that moment of like, I've known that for 30 years, and that's just when you have that spite of like jealousy, it just means, are you doing what it is that you could be doing because you have that information? But a brain dump, which is now an energy dump for me, I have done forever, but it's as simple as every day for me, I write down everything that needs to be done for my business. And then I have another one for my life. And when you're home and self-employed, time can suck you up, but I have a job and I sit here and I brain dump every day, everything that needs to be done. And if it's not done, it goes on to the next page. Now, I always directed as a Mary Kay director, pick the hardest one first. Now, I would not say that anymore. I would say, do the lightest ones first. And then when you get to a heavy one, or if you want to start with one that's like, check the energy of it. There's something there that's telling you to do that, choose that, follow it another time. So I would not coach that way of go in and do the hardest one, because the hardest one needs to have questions, because maybe it's not time for it to be done yet. So, and then learning how, then if you don't choose it, there's nothing wrong with you. You followed the energy. So that's what a brain dump, energy dump. And so if I have those things and I go, okay, this is what's sticking me for the day. What clearings can I do? What tools, what book can I read? And then how many billion questions can I ask today to get all that stuff done? So cool. Okay, so incorporate that into your world. And then that would be something that's going to be part of this group, is actually weekly and connection of getting in the habit of doing the brain dump. I have a very obsessive mind. It doesn't stop. It does not stop, which is okay because it's always creating. But if I don't get this shit out of my head and on paper, I go insane. So it's something I learned years ago to at least get it to stop long enough so that I could go to paper and go next, next, next. And then while I'm doing next, I'm writing 5 million other things that I want to do. So it has helped me just function in my world of that over compulsive, over driven thing that just keeps on going, which is not a wrongness, it's a strongness. So if you have that, take a look at that. Okay. Anybody else?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All righty, ladies. And then if you do choose to do the next 12 weeks with me, there's $500 off of what the price is. And what that looked like was $300 off, and then you got a free onboarding hour call with me before we even start on October 20th, so we can get you lined in and ready, like ready, set, expand, ready, set, go. So take off 500 of what that price is, and we'll go from there. And if you have any questions, I will see you somewhere. All right, thank you for being part of this with me. I really appreciate it. Bye, you guys.